Hey guys, so today I got to do a leak check on this left-hand engine on this Beech 1900D. I did bore scope inspection, so to do that you have to remove a few fuel nozzles, and it's always a good idea to leak check the engine afterwards. So if you can see it back here, I've got the cowling off for me to check it for leaks afterwards. So I'll show you a quick startup procedure of a 1900D. First of all, I got ground power plugged in. I didn't show you that earlier, but climb into these damn things is sometimes hard for taller guys like me. First things first, as soon as you hop into any airplane before you're about to start up, set the parking brake. So I'm pushing forward on the rudder pedals, which is the brake, and on the 1900, parking brake is here, so pull that up, and that'll hold pressure in the brake units. Next, I have to unlock. This is just this is the gust lock mechanism. So this holds the aileron and elevator, and then there's one pin that goes to the floor and locks the rudder, but we never do that unless it's really, really windy. I'll tell you about that later. But and then this is just a dummy protection system, because you can't, in theory, you can't even move the throttles ahead. Well, you can't, because that's in the way, and that would remind you that your gust lock is in. So got to make things idiot proof, otherwise they will get left. And so I'll relieve my throttles, and I'm just going to put this pin back in anyway. Oops, not that one. So I don't have to hold on to the column. Okay, so I hopped in. First things first, so set the brake. Next, let's get some power going on here. Battery master's here. And I have that light down here is telling me I have external power plugged in. And I come up to my voltmeter up here and flip it to external. Kind of hard to see, but it's showing I have 28 volts available off external. So it is connected. External switch is this one. Pump that on. And now I have all the lights. Probably easier to see now. 28 volts coming from external. And this is it showing it's charging the battery a little bit here. So, just a quick scan. We don't really need anything. This is just, I'm going to be a simple idle run, so I always start from left to right. Fuel panels over here, obviously we got fuel. Don't really need the AC bus. I'm not really concerned for torques. This is more for avionics stuff, but it also does your engine torque, so I'll get that on anyway. These are all good. All of our prop, we don't need any heats, no, nothing there. Bleeds are in normal. Those enviros are all good. Circuit breakers are in on that panel. And before you do any startup, you want to throw the beacon on, so no people walk into a running airplane, I guess. I don't know. And then that's essentially a quick version. I gotta hurry up to do this. So next, what I'm going to do on 1900, you will melt the windows from the exhaust if you don't put the props into ground fine right away. If you leave them in feathered for too long, you will actually melt the side windows. So prop is full forward on startup. This throttle, this is at ground idle. These over here are your condition levers. I'll be moving these on startup. So like any turbine engine, I'm going to, as soon as I hit the starter, we want to see a good rise in gas generator speed before we introduce fuel. So on ground power, I'll probably get about 20%, which is lots, on the Dash 67. And then you're watching, as I'm hitting the starter, bringing that up, I'm watching to see my oil pressure come up. And when I see that coming up, I forget about that. And the next two they're watching throughout the whole start are this gas generator and your ITT up here, looking for a spike. I'm gonna prop my phone up on my chest here. It's this is gonna be kind of difficult. Hopefully you guys can see everything, because I need two hands to do this. But I can just barely reach the starter. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, clear prop on the left, no kittens anywhere, we're clear. Here we go. Starter's engaged. NG's coming up, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's good for me. Fuel on, fuel flow, oil pressure's up. It just lit. And now I'm just watching ITT and NG. If the gas generator doesn't speed up and your ITT does, you cut off the fuel, but keep the starter held down. 650, there. Now it's, whoops. Now it's reached self-sustaining speed. I can let go of the starter down there. The starter switches are down here. And cancel the cautions. And there we are at an idle. 490 ITT, hardly any torque, prop, 70% MG, fuel flow about 250 pounds an hour, oil pressure's good, oil temp will be coming up, and I don't see any big fuel spills or misting shit everywhere. I've never seen a fuel injector on the PT6 leak. I'm not saying it can't be done. If a guy accidentally cuts an O-ring when he's installing it, it's very possible it could happen, but I've personally never seen these leak. But you have to be sure. Okay, so I've been sitting here idling for 5 minutes. The battery's charged up on the ground power, and I'm happy with what we got here, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Now to do that, go back to the condition lever here. Essentially this controls whether you want fuel going to the engine or not. So this is how you shut it on and off. The throttles obviously control how much fuel you're putting to the engine. But I will get into this whole thing later. I mean, the throttles also function differently in reverse. They control your prop. That's a video for another time. Essentially the condition levers, one job is for allowing fuel to go to the engine or not, and different idle speeds. This is low idle. If I push it up there, it's high idle. It just, all it does is it just schedules a little more fuel to bump your idle speed up. Anyway, so to shut it off, I just pull this thing straight back. I don't have the generator turned on. I've just been running it on ground power the whole time, so all buses will still be powered, and I'll show you what a PT6 does during a engine failure. And the auto feather kind of feature that's designed into it. So here we go, watch. So fuel stopped, prop's still spinning obviously. I haven't touched the prop control, I haven't put it into feather myself. But as oil pressure starts to bleed down, the propeller will automatically spring to feather position on its own. See how they're starting to twist into feather, and pretty much feather right there, and then as soon as I move the prop control into full feather, watch them snap. There. That's full feather right there. So if you have an engine fail, at least your prop won't be spinning and creates much less drag. Anyway guys, that is a quick startup of a Beech 1900D, what we maintenance guys do anyway. It was just a quick leak check for my fuel nozzles, so really not much to it. Sorry I couldn't get into detail about much else, and I don't have any other systems powered and whatnot. Maybe that'll be for another time, because I gotta go right now. So anyway, cheers. Anyway, that's a basic startup. I'm just gonna let it run on ground power. Once they're started, normally you would turn the generator on. The starter also functions as a generator when the engine is self-sustaining, but I'm just going to leave it off and let the ground power charge the battery still. Anyway, yeah, basic startup. Sorry it couldn't be longer. I got a lot of other stuff I got to do, and maybe you learned something. All right, cheers.